الذين يقاتلون في سبيله صفا كأنهم بنيان مرصوص. Allah loves those who fight in His cause just like a solid cemented structure. So I'd like to begin by there's something that is clearly that we're into. We've been expecting it. Not the expectation where you're waiting by the door for the mailman to come with your check, for something other. Not like that. But as the years go by, a person begins to recognize cycles in their own life. They just recognize them. And they recognize what they did. I would say, first of all, this is different than the cycle of the 1960s or the couple of cycles in the 1960s. When you're in your early 20s, stuff like that. The more cycles you go through, I'll call them movement cycles, not just normal life cycles. Like you get 55 years old, you want to have a second fling at life, am I getting too old? So you go buy a red convertible or something and get a new haircut. A lot of senior citizens do that. What do they call it? Midlife crisis. Well, alhamdulillah, I never had any of those. I guess boss man be working on you so much you have you get to, anyway, it's a long story. But I want to open tonight with the first statement and the second statement is, number one, increase speed. Number two, increase care. What that means is that we live in our own kind of a bubble, and people come in and out of that bubble all the time. They come, maybe they throw a few rocks, maybe they come and clap and cheer, and then you never see them again. Yeah, you saw them every day for 10, 15, 20 years, and you just don't see them anymore. Not a trace. They're gone in 60 seconds, like the car stealing guy, Nicholas Gage, they gone in 60 seconds. The Negro, they be like that. They be there, permanent fixture, then they be gone. So what I mean to talk about tonight is, and I'll try to be brief, increase speed, but increase care. So we'll be traveling, the movement will be traveling at higher speeds. But we're going to be careful about what we're doing, not because of any fear or it's just that it's natural. If you're traveling at a velocity beyond what you normally travel at, well, you have to check all your tires. You have to check them regularly. You have to check your braking system. You have to make sure, and even all your propulsion and braking, you got to check it out because it's not that safety is the main concern, but in a movement like we're involved in a movement where the people are like they are, we're playing a special place in it, and we kind of have an idea what it is. Most of it in recent years, we've chose it for ourselves. So, but now, The climate, even when it's good news, they having a big snowstorm and all that in California, great. But if it lasts, that'll be fine. What I mean is the drought is 20 years old. And what do they call them? Little shifts in the time. I mean, in the climate. Some effect when it affect it's butterfly effect. No, but that's something to think about. If a butterfly flap their wings over here, you're gonna feel it in China. Is that the one you're talking?
That's the one I thought you were saying.
No, I was talking about El Nino. That's what I was thinking. Okay, they happen to be having either El Nino or La Nina. Anyway, they getting some nice snow. I mean, because see, I be thinking about traveling, and I would travel. All is fine here. Then I'd get into Nevada, and I had to go up the hills and come down into California. And that last pass is one of the passes that in the wintertime you usually have to have chains and all that stuff. And they're having a lot of snow out there, which is good. And they're going to have a big snow pack. That means that no matter what happened, at least this year, they're going to have a lot of runoff, and it'll be a good year for California. Very possible it'll be a good year. But they've been in a 20-year cycle of drought. The pumps are not pumping water anymore. They keep drilling deeper and deeper. They're drilling up all the water. Anyway, things are increasing. So during this period, we won't be carrying on like we had during this last period. I mean, it'll be a little quicker, more specific. And that's what's necessary for this period. So we'll increase the speed, but we'll increase the care. Not the type of care where you mousing around and you scared. No, the same kind of care we've been had, that we're going straight for the jugular on whatever it is we're supposed to be doing. And we're not going to be, oh, well, I want to live a long time and I want to do this and I want to. We want to do what we're supposed to do. And we leave the rest to Allah. Not only the rest, we leave it all to Allah, but we know that we have an opportunity. We're living in a great period, man. And I don't know how everybody else feels, but it feels fine. Taqwa and management. Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui called it muttaqi leadership. That is a leadership that has taqwa. If we notice, that's the absentee landlord, the absentee behavior factor. Muttaqi leadership. We have leadership, but they don't have no taqwa. Or let me rephrase it. It doesn't look like they have taqwa by their behavior. They might have it, they just don't look like it. Usually in warfare, they have a spring offensive. A spring offensive is because you can't do nothing in the winter. Barbarossa started in June, May or June in 1941. And they come all the way through Russia. And when the winter came in, they was frozen in Stalingrad. They just hadn't read the history books about Napoleon going to Russia. All the way Russia. I think 8 time zones. So if you knock over 3-4 time zones, right, you still got the size of the United States left. And they did that. They took all their machinery, everything, put it on railroad cars, and took it back beyond Moscow. And all the people that could leave, they left. Scorched earth, that policy. They didn't leave nothing for the Germans. So we're having a winter offensive. And this is at the peak of winter. Solstice, December the 21st was back a couple of days. Solstice when the sun stands. When daylight and night is the same, about the same. Or technically, no, it's the shortest period. When daylight and night is the same, is at the two other in spring and in the fall. It is a time when, like the 20th of September, daylight and darkness is basically the same. And then on the 21st, I use 21s as popular in here, 20 and 21s. First day of spring. Okay, we're familiar with it more than anything because we all heard of spring cleaning and all of that. When you go to Iran, you realize it. See, they go on that solar calendar that they have, and they've been having this for centuries before Islamic. So if you look at they have the Hijra calendar, the Persian solar calendar, which has the same amount of days, that this has over here, which was their original calendar. Then they have the Hijra calendar. Well, New Rules, you ever heard of New Rules? New Rules, New Year. This is New Rules, a big celebration in Iran. Just to get off the subject for a minute, the first time when it's in the 80s, I was in Iran for a long time. I was picking up the language and everything. So the brothers had me a nice spot, I was staying permanently at the Istiglal Hotel, Revolutionary Hotel. And so I would look out the window. I was probably on the 15th floor, and I said, hey, man, everywhere we've been going, it was in March, I said, saw all the little kids picking up sticks and firewood and everything. What are they going to do with that? They said, they know it was Jahiliyyah, so they just said, before they were Zoroastrians, the fire worshippers. Zoroaster wasn't a bad guy. His teachings was reasonable. So they fire worshippers. So now this is the height of the revolution. So I look out my window that night, and all over Tehran, it was bonfires. I said, oh. I'm not going to say, hey, man, you guys, what's happening with Islam? And it's like if we kept June the 6th, what was that, Juneteenth or something? Well, it's just, all the people do it. Malaysians, they got times. Indonesians, they don't say we're doing this. It happens to be marked on the calendar, though. Everybody knows it better than the Eid. But so anyway, I said, man, what's all the little kids going picking up sticks and firewood? Oh. Another one was the 13th of Farvardin. Friday the 13th and all that. It kicks off from that. So, there's usually no 13th floor on the elevator. So the holidays you go out. So this holiday, everybody goes out of town. And I said, man, it looks like an exodus. And everybody had wheatgrass on their car. You know the same wheatgrass you go to the health food store? They blend up that wheatgrass. I say, why is everybody leaving town? I mean, it's an exodus. And they all got that, they got wheatgrass on the car. So I come to find out, they're good brothers. They're strictly deep into Islam. But I said, oh, okay. I said, what are they going to do with it? He said, that people, they're going to go out and then they're going to throw it over their shoulder for some kind of luck. I said, that's right. I'll be doggone. That's the 13th of Farbardeen. When I'd be out at IAC and I'd tell everybody that stuff, they be saying, this Negro get in our business, And it's not that, see, because everybody always, what is that? I asked Mr. Coltrane, what is the sound? I said, yeah. I said, well, it's Arabs or Persians. I was walking up to one sheikh's house and a clang-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. So what's that you listen to? That's Arabic culture there. I said, so we can't do nothing with Negro culture. You can do it with Arab culture. And what was that stuff you throwing over your shoulder? Y'all got all kind of, they ain't left, I'm not saying they haven't left it behind, but they like it. I mean, it's like a holiday. And everybody would tell you can't celebrate your birthdays. I said, well, we're going to have a Sakina-bration. Sakina's birthday. So everybody come, we're going to have what is a Sakina-bration? I said, the hell is a celebration. A Sakina-bration. Find some fitna on that. I said, find some fitna. Just find something where that's haram. And it's got to say Sakina-brations is haram. So anyway, let me speed up. Back to winter offensive. Usually in the summer or the spring, they have offensive because of mobility, and all of that stuff, the weather, We're having a winter offensive. We've been expecting, we've been waiting for this for a long time. And it happens to come at this time. And alhamdulillah, it's the right time. And I'll get into kind of what... So I'm not going to talk about the attack of the juvenile army. I'll just mention who the juvenile army is like. You remember a lot of our old people, not old people, a lot of the Negroes in the past. It's like when Khadijah was here for our 2002 program, she attacked Karima, which was Tufel's wife at the time. And we had some talks about it, and we just loved Imam Musa so much we couldn't stand that she didn't like him. I said, that's really something. But when we went out to California, we didn't go out there and mess up the whole program went smooth. When they come here to put a bad taste in everybody's mouth. As well as we had everything organized, certain amount of food, certain amount of... Anyway, we'll keep moving. I used to refer to all those people as high school Negroes. But as we move forward at a rapid clip, they're standing still. So they're not high school anymore. It's like elementary school, or we refer to them as juvenile. Their whole approach is juvenile. It's just like really, really, young and inexperienced. And these are supposed to be the government heavyweights. You know, they're government heavyweights. And just for us, if we were to think about literally everybody involved, in 1990, I think it was, when Siraj was arrested up in New York, and we all went up there and had a program to show him support, you know. Now, a lot of people thought it was a setup to make him famous, you know, like we had all the drug posters and everything. But if you ask anybody, they'll think they're the ones. So anyway, but we went up there anyway. We went up there several times. When they had Madison Square Garden, did you go up there that time? We went up there twice at that time. And one time, the time you might have heard Brother Tufel talk about it, when the whole crowd was, they had Hamza Yusuf, he was coming, and they was to this, he's at the airport, the plane has landed. Dear believers, let's have a pause. Hamza Yusuf is in the house. He's here. I said, these people, maybe if Jesus was to come with his regular, their Jesus, you know, long blonde hair stuff with the big heart on it, that would be nice.
I actually experienced that at Bishop Airlines.
Is that right?
I've seen the awe that followed him whenever he walked through the hall or something like that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, I said, well, they see stuff that I can't. I can't see everything. You know, all the thinking Negroes say that, what is, I said, it's no big deal. And anyway, let me speed up here. Strategic recovery. We're going to ask the people to join us in this strategic recovery. That's what we're dealing with right now. Prepare for strategic defense. Strategic recovery, strategic defense. This experiment, say, for DC, just think about DC. Okay, what we're going to do with DC is we're going to really upgrade everything we got here. We're going to upgrade it, inshallah. So we're going to develop maybe 4 teams to go out every Friday. And by the Eid time, we want to have covered everything or a lot from Baltimore up there, DC, and Richmond, all that in between. You've probably seen this, all this stuff written. It's been on the books for a long time. Now we're just going to do it. That's all. That's the beautiful thing about it is we just do that. Okay. So we call it Experiment DC Properties Dream Deferred or Dream Rerouted. You know, rerouted. Yeah. So this Thursday we'll go out to IAC, inshallah. We wanted to give them a breather. Let stuff get around. But inshallah, the goal for this recent period right around here is to develop 4 teams of fundraisers. Now, the way we're going to do the fundraising is This is where it starts. We're not going into every time we cranked up before, we cranked up with no old money, new money. New money means that whatever we might have just dropped in a box or hid or whatever, uh, that ain't going nowhere. We're starting with what we acquire now. And that means that the general plan, the time frame is this. We'll do this program on the 2nd. We'll have another on the 31st or something like that. Each time we're expanding and gaining in expertise. The main theme is anti-Zionism and counter-Zionism. We'll mention Boss Man a little, but Boss Man is already whipped. Boss Man is just defaced in the public. It would be like beating somebody. They already, hey man, what's this beat? But the Zionists, and I just, you look at the Zionists. The Zionists, they're arrogant and mean-spirited, and they're weak right now. See, they've always been able to get somebody else to fight for them. They always, in 81, they attacked Iraq and about their nuclear stuff. They've been killing Iranians. As a matter of fact, now they can kill, everybody knows this, what they did. Everybody knows they have nuclear weapons, but they want you to, okay, there's a feeling now, you can tell in the public, not the Western public, but you could tell that the people in the world is getting tired of that. They're like, hey, man, how can we can have a 120 vote to do something in the UN about Lebanon, and we'll have one abstention, and it's the U.S., or one vote against it, it's the U.S. That's getting old. Okay, so we're going to have explanatory flyers and everything. The same thing we've been doing in the past, except this time we're starting right where we are. What I'm going to try to do now is explain step 1 in everything that we're going to do. When we get finished with step 1, we'll be fully operational. We'll have funds to do anything that we want because you could tell the environment. See, like just the little stuff you hear, everybody is aware that we're back moving around a little bit. That is a shock for themselves. We already knew we was going to do something. They didn't. And Boss Man wasn't particular about it. They said one of the brothers here, the Sudanese brother, used to run with me, and he was saying, he said, maybe they think you've gotten a little old, and because I said, no, that's. He said they probably think you've gotten a little old, and and I was just saying to myself, that's great. I'm sorry, that ain't. Of course, calendar years we're getting older, but not movement. We're improving. At least we think we are. Special flyers. And remember, no matter what comes to you, see, like when the Prophet ﷺ went to the graveyard to pray for the martyrs one night, Aisha followed him out, and then he knew she had followed him, and he was at the graveyard praying for the martyrs and what have you. So she zipped on back home. So she asked him, well, why did I do that? She said, the devil. It sounded like, the devil made you do it. Oh, Rasulullah, I have a shaitan? Said, yes. Even thou, O Rasulullah, yes, but I have conquered that shaitan, and now he only suggests good to me. Now, that means, this is the way you have to look at it. If boss man got an antenna sticking out of the top of my head, doesn't make any difference. Doesn't make any difference at all. Because we got in our mind what good is, and any suggestion that comes has to pass that muster, not any stupid stuff that they might conjure up. It ain't going to work like that. The other thing is that anything we acquire of elevated knowledge, artificial intelligence, we're going to write about it and pass it on to the people, just like we've been doing in all those articles. Well, just think, now we got all the notes for our own stuff, everything already laid out. It don't make no difference what happened. But to write and clarify and carry people through this level, just like people was carried through the last level, they just didn't want to go. Well, it's not our job to make them go, but it's our job to clarify the issues. And they'll be clearer this go round than they was last, inshallah. Transfer of focus, transfer of energy. And I have the note long game. Transfer of focus mean that now we've been doing, but we've refocused. When you refocus, that means you shift all the energy, right? The energy shifts right along with you. So, if somebody would have observed us over the last several months, even a few years, they would have said, there's nothing happening there. But of course it's happening. Why? Longevity has its purpose. Long range. Over a long period of time, you can make people make all the mistakes in the world because it's over such a long period of time. And they're forgetful. They're forgetful. The system is forgetful. Yes, it keeps notes a lot. And it knows what it's done to you. And you know what it's done to you. But you know all other things. And then those people get old. They bring in new crews. And the new crew don't know the institutional memory. Like we wore down 3 shifts of peckerwoods, just 3 shifts. And this would be the 3rd shift of Negroes too. You know, when you go back in that first shift, they just knew it just was like one of the guys told me in '86. You don't know what you're getting yourself into because this is a major snitch, and I'm telling you, well, that's it, homeboy. He just looked at me. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. I said, shoot. They had the door surrounded. They had everything surrounded, and we automatically know it. It means that we got our work cut out for us. That's why in '86 we said the same thing. When they messed with some of our property, we said, that's wonderful. It was '86. That's when we switched to the type of flow that we're into now. Then, '86, whatever that was that 35 years ago? It sure was. Now, other people, you got to remember now, a lot of people not even 35 years old. What I'm trying to say is, we always use the term, look, they didn't give our people no time. The thing we knew that we needed. Now, we didn't have no program that we want to stay around and we're going to mouse around and we're not going to take no chance. We didn't do that. We took our regular chances and extra. But longevity, you know what I mean? Protractedness. There's something American Negroes never had that. We just never had that. Where we could go away from the white man and think and plan. So that's why I had to leave the country, but I brought Boss Man right along with me. But I knew, hey, long as you know, it's all right. How you gonna manipulate the system and manage the system? You have to know it. You can't get lucky once in a while. Okay. Transfer of focus, transfer of energy. They say the long game, they say China has a long game. They say America has to do everything within a quarter. People they want to get paid that quick. I mean, you can't invest nothing. You can't invest nothing. You have to. You could buy a big company and then you sell off all the stuff. Do something dumb. Anyway, let me speed up. Visionary Negroes, longevity Negroes, protracted Negroes. All within the body of Negroes. Visionary Negroes. This is one of the whippings that you can administer to the system because they think that the only vision that a black person have is the picture that they gave him. Success is what they call success, right? And you can look at all of them. The most unhappiest, suicide-prone people is people that's living that dream. They're living it. The more they live it, the worse life is because they said, I'm not happy. What is wrong? And they can't figure it out. Everybody in Hollywood got psychiatrists. The psychiatrist sitting there with a dress on and a boy and fingernail polish, and he don't. He talking about blind lead the blind. It's okay. People live what they want, do what they want. But I'm saying, a stable life, a focused life, they have no idea. And they have been diverted away from. There's a polish for the heart, and the polish for the heart is the dhikr of Allah, the remembrance of Allah. They got everything but that, right? And when they don't have that, they have nothing. They just don't have nothing. Huh? Oh, my goodness. Repentance for what? For doing what they do? There's no need for it. What repent? You mean religious stuff? Visionary Negroes. See, this is where we beat them. Look, I don't care what nobody say. When we jumped on the white man, we jumped on his behind because we jumped on him with our own vision of what success is, not his. That's why he caught. That's why everybody's caught. All my friends is caught. One of my friends, he was big in certain things, and I took my kids to see him, and they was young. He was in the San Francisco County Jail. He'd been in the pen with me, then he was ready to go back again for 18 years. That was way back when. He got out after doing that, and he went back for that same length of time type. He just got out on, I saw, they sent me a picture, he just got out on a compassionate release. They got in the federal pen now that you can put in for old folks. These guys, and they showed me the picture, he's driving the new car his son bought for him. And he was big. But that's the problem. He was big. So once you taste that, if you don't get enough of it, you think that that's life, getting back to that. And I've seen so many sad people. The ones that were lucky, the ones that wasn't killed. You know, when the white lady, what's her name's wife, got cut up in L.A., we knew it was Latinos did it because all the brothers that owed big money like that, that's how they was dealt with. Now, nigga will shoot you all in the head and the feet. In fact, he'll miss for about a half an hour. Finally, he'll hit you, you know, and take you out. Or if they had the nigga die and they had busted his head wide open or something like that with a base, they could have been colored people. But that girl owed the Colombians or Latinos tons of money. And she could get more and more. She was a cokehead, a dope fiend. Excuse the language. She was a dope fiend bitch, as they call her. She was a dope fiend white bitch. There's nothing more scandalous. They just, I'm not, they look okay. Anyway, so she owed them money. They're the ones that kill her. You can't kill no, there's two people dead, right? You ever try to chase a woman around and beat her up? Women have tried sometimes. No, don't try. That's bad. They have defensive mechanisms. They know, they throw their hands up. They and it's strategic. You know, when they're under pressure, all their moves are strategic. They are. Remember when your boys would be wrestling with his wife? When they would be here in the Masjid, they'd all be, remember they all, look, if you think you just got a nice little dainty daughter or girl, hey, I'm sorry. That child, tell the truth. I used to look, I said, that's a girl. Hey, the boys didn't have there was no compassion or like separation of the sexes. They body slammed each other, but you could watch. Some people know how to zzz, right? Zoop right back at you, right? You've seen it though.
I mean, I've seen them, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Look, if you beating the boy up, she gonna jump out of the window and get away. If you beat her up, he's a physical fitness expert. He's gonna be on, you're gonna have bites and scratches and you're gonna be punched up. Right? He's a physical fitness expert, right? It's not possible. They tell the white folks. I said, see, you got to be in the game to know. They cut them up. They sliced them up. Boy, that's their MO. They do that. Girls don't do that. He get mad. If they would have said that they busted the fat off that lady's head, said nigga probably did it. He shot her 200 times. There's a chance. But cut her all up and cut both of them. How are you going to get both of them and cut them up? It was a group of people, held them people and cut them up. Because if you, I don't know if y'all ever been in hot spots, but If it's a girl in the room and when you move on him, she gone. You're going to have tennis shoes on to catch her. You can't catch her. She's going to jump out of the window. And she's going to land fine. Don't worry. Don't worry. They got that stuff in them. You know what I mean? Anyway. So let me get back to the story here. Kind of the visionary Negroes, longevity Negroes, protracted Negroes. Now, by the time Eid come along, we're going to have regional recognition by Eid time. Because by that time, we'll have crews, at least 3 crews going out, maybe 4. And I'm going to go out to California. I'm going to put all that stuff on hold. Ain't no hurry to do that. And it doesn't make a difference, I just run out there, pay a little taxes, and run right back. I'll go out there next month. Just for a minute. I ain't going to be there a couple of days. That's it. Be right back here. We won't go out there. At the earliest, it'll be post-Eid. All of this period between now and Eid is build-up time. So what does it look like? Post-Eid, regional recognition by Eid. In other words, you could tell by now, we just go out once or twice, right? Imagine by Eid going out every week. We're definitely not going to waste time with 2-3 people here for no Juma. We're going to be out busy. At minimum 2 teams, usually probably 3 and maybe 4 teams of fundraisers. If we have to, like start next month for the next program, if it's us managing a team of people, that's fine. Each one of us have a team. Not that we don't trust our people, but sometimes, people might drop a lot of money in there, and it's all right for somebody to steal a little bit, but not all of it. I don't know if you knew China Boy. You remember China Boy? We went over to Dollar Hydra. China Boy. In his box, the only money he gave me was a $60 check because it had the name. I said, they didn't put nothing else in there. And he used to talk about us a lot. He'd be mean. I said, yeah, it's fine with me. Okay. Post-Eid Regional Institute. When we finish this, what we say here, no one will laugh at the Negro again. Because they abuse Negroes, they laugh at Negroes. They can't do it already because we done already shocked them. Because everything they thought was happening here, it's not what's happening. They thought we was wounded and retiring and quitting, and we was just taking it easy till we get ready. And we've been strategically arranging. This stuff don't just happen. It's been arranged. So no one will laugh at the Negro again. And our specialty is self-dependence. No matter what we have, it's ours, and we don't care. Nobody can bribe us with we're going to sign. People always telling us, they told us out there, what's the name, where they hired at, well, how much do you need, Imam Musa? Well, we're trying to raise $100,000 for the school. Is that all? We ain't seen a dime of it. Abdul Haq and I, did he tell you? We was out there. Oh, there's $100,000 at For them, they could have wrote the check right then. I don't know how many millions they get on Eid, but if they got 28 satellites, if they got 10 satellites on Eid, they getting enough money to float a battleship. Yeah. And them people is filling them boxes up. You ever see out at not IAC, the place where y'all would go all the time? Them boxes, they be loading them boxes up. And they used to just set them around. You remember when we had that half a million demonstration downtown? And the white folks, just the boxes, and they come right there and set them down by this thing. Little bucks of money. Let's go back and do dawah. They call it dawah. Let's go back and talk to the people. And they set the money with all them niggas. Our niggas. They are lucky. I told them, you do that again, we're going to cut the brothers loose on you. We're going to cut the Negro loose on your behind. If you do that one more time, on my shift, finished. You think we're going to watch your money? Take your money and put it in the medical? Remember we put it in the medical? I don't know how many boxes it was, but it was money, money, money. One box will set a nigga straight. There's 500,000 people there. Why, if they put $1 in a piece, how the a ticket costs $500, so they put $20. They put $100. They put $500. Some of them just count. Well, I have 1,500 left. I'm gonna give them 1,000 because I don't. I'll just have a little lunch and a little something, and I'll keep this 500 for me, and I'll give them 1,000. I could see them $100 bills flapping with the coins holding them down. Let them try it again, see what happened. I'll loose the Negro on their behind. Boy, they'll be the poorest white folks in town because the Negro won't leave them nothing. Nothing. Well, what happened to all the money? What money? You know those boxes we had, all those orange boxes? You see it? Brother Rahman, did you see any boxes? What boxes? You know the money boxes. What's a money box? You got a money box? We got a money box? What happened? What are you talking about? Right? They ain't saw the Negro get loose. It was only, look, if it wasn't good character and all that stuff, and you know why? They didn't need the money. Their sponsors taking care of everything. That's why they wasn't thinking about it. They didn't need that money. They could have gave it to us. We could have found something good to do with it. Okay, visionary Negroes, longevity Negroes, protracted Negroes. Stage 1, which we're in. But stage 1s will cover everything from the Masjid 4603 upgrade, 5021 upgrade, 4607 upgrade, 4481 upgrade. And possibly building 3 houses, 3-story, I like I got right across the street. That's in stage 1. That's in stage 1. Okay, let's see. Okay, we'll speed up. Islamic Institute for Counter Zionist American Psychological Warfare. We're gonna go not strictly after the Zionists, but the Americans will get some of it. But we're going after the Zionists. We're going after the Zionists because they are open target that all the Muslims hate. So next year, not the next year, like 2023, we'll include Boss Man with the Zionists. But all this next year, just the Zionists. Because the Zionists is wide open. The Zionists have had everybody in the world fight and lose their people for them. Imagine when we explain that to them. Your sons and daughters died for them. Yeah. And they still trying to, what? They're the ones that don't want no nuclear deal with Iran. They're the ones that's killing Palestine. And they're killing what they're doing now,